When was the last time a Looney Tunes movie released? I can't recall. Let me see here. That's why I don't remember anything recently. Space Jam 2 came out a few years ago, and, well...
What in the world?
I don't know if it's just me, but I don't really like how that looks. I just don't know if the Looney Tunes characters lend themselves well to the 3D CGI. Besides Space Jam, the last movie to release was Back in Action in 2003. Oh, what a huge gap of time with nothing released. I can't say any of the 2000s versions of the Looney Tunes blew me away. Besides Duck Dodgers.
Hey,
Now that was a good show. From what I gathered, The Day the Earth Blew Up is a fully 2D movie, which is a decidedly different direction from the previous movies we've received. Is the switch up to fully 2D a worthwhile endeavor? Or is big screen animation done for good? Let's get into it. Well. This was a pleasant surprise. Warner Brothers might have actually figured out how to make a good Looney Tunes movie. Going into this movie, I wasn't really sure how I was going to feel about it. From the trailer, it seemed like it was going to have pretty decent slapstick, but it also seemed like it was going to have the more modern, fast-paced kind of humor, and I wasn't sure what style it was going to lean more heavily into. And it doesn't really lean heavily into either category. It just borrows tropes from each, and with it creates a unique style. It's so surprising to remember that this movie is the first fully 2D movie from Looney Tunes. Isn't that just so strange every time that a Looney Tunes movie is made and put on the big screen? There's always some blend of either 3D or this Roger Rabbit style of animation, where they try and blend real people with the 2D characters. Not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's not what makes Looney Tunes iconic. And I can't really think of any other franchise that solely focused on 2D animation during its inception and through most of its runtime and lifespan, to then just switch it up to 3D every time a movie comes out. Maybe you guys could help me out in the comments below, but I'm drawing a blank. After the extended run on both television and the big screen, you think by this point they would have at least one fully 2D movie under their belt. But enough about what they haven't done yet. Let's talk about this movie. So, The Day the Earth Blew Up is a buddy comedy film with Daffy and Porky being raised as siblings by a man named Farmer Jim, a very kind and hilarious character. The intro to this movie gives us the loony backstory of the shenanigans that Daffy and Porky get up to as Farmer Jim tries to raise two wacky characters. But thankfully for Porky and Daffy, Farmer Jim is a character himself, switching up his animation style every time we see him, and having this almost smiling friends energy about him, in the way that his animation switches, and sometimes the frame rate will switch, and just how he speaks and acts. This movie is a very, very good way to introduce how the comedy works, blending Daffy and Porky's slapstick and wackiness with all the other characters' more modern take. It's a very interesting and unique way of doing things, having the world around them be the thing that has changed, but leaving Daffy and Porky as their classic versions, allowing them to shine. After the little montage at the beginning showing Daffy and Porky grow into adulthood, Farmer Jim heads off the farm, both figuratively and literally, before he fades away and becomes a symbol in the clouds like Mufasa, speaking down to Porky and Daffy, telling them to have a good life and wishing them luck, leaving the house behind for them. Now, Porky is the more uptight, well-mannered, well-spoken character, and Daffy acts more like a bummy, slobby character. Daffy and Porky must get the house ready for their HOA inspection, tidying up the place and getting it in tip-top shape. But the night before, while they were asleep, an asteroid had slammed down to Earth, crashing through their roof and destroying it, causing the HOA to crack down on them, giving them 10 days to replace their roof or they're going to have their house condemned. Having lived on Easy Street since Farmer Jim had left, Porky and Daffy find that they have no savings and have to get jobs. We then go on a very Step Brothers-esque montage of the two trying to interview for jobs and trying to hold down jobs that they do get, and failing spectacularly. After many trial and errors, Daffy and Porky end up at the chewing gum factory. I believe it's called Goody Gum, and they're there to be assembly line workers. While there though, Daffy discovers a dastardly plot by an alien. He's mind controlled a scientist, and he's used him to sneak into the gum factory and is using toxic alien goo and dumping it into the gum. Daffy becomes aware of this and begins to freak out and spout conspiracy sounding theories, making himself sound crazy, getting himself fired from the factory, and getting Porky in trouble. Well, it's also by this point I should mention that Porky meets a love interest named Petunia Pig, and she's a scientist at the gum factory. They also kind of get her in trouble too with this. After this, Daffy's labeled as a loon, and he desperately tries to stop the gum's opening day release, but is quickly shouted down by the town, calling him crazy and just a conspiracy nut, and even managing to offend and anger Porky Pig too. Too little too late though. With the release of the gum, more and more people begin to fall to the mind control of the aliens and act like zombies, infecting other people and getting them to chew gum as well, which allows them in turn to become mind controlled. Petunia, Porky, and Daffy are the only ones in the whole world who are able to fight back against it from Petunia's knowledge of how to remove the aliens from the host. I don't want to spoil too much here. Yes, this is a movie review, but I do want to give you guys an opportunity to go check this movie out. If you guys would like me to cover this movie with a spoiler review, let me know down in the comments below. This movie's only about 90 minutes long, so compared to other modern movies, this is perfect. It's well paced, well animated, and has tons of humor. I found myself chuckling so many times throughout this thing. Like I said, if you get a chance to see this thing in theaters, absolutely do it. Warner Brothers absolutely hit it out of the park with this one. When movie studios do something right, we need to go out and support things that are good, because then we'll get more things like that. And I think this is something that we should get more of. It's fun to go into a theater and not have to see the same old types of movies. Thriller, superhero, horror. Let's get some mix-ups. Or, if seeing it in the movie isn't your thing, wait till it comes to streaming. Invite some buddies over, get some pizza, get some beer. Have a good time. That's all I got for you for this week. Sorry it took so long to get this review out. I hope the changes I made to my channel are worth it. Like the HD Dinoaur, some of the backgrounds. I'm still working on some stuff to make the videos better. So stay tuned, let me know in the comments if you have any ideas about what I should do. If you guys saw the movie, let me know down below and let's talk about it.
That's all, folks.